you're using Taproot within the segue address, that's the BC1P, right? So in Taproot, you have all these, you have additional kind of scripting options. And someone basically came up with this idea of like, hey, I'm going to use this false, and then put an if statement within it. Now, for anybody who writes software, we know that if you put an off false and then put something afterwards, like that's never going to fire. So it's basically junk. So inscriptions are basically the junk that you fill in after op false. And then decided after they're op false, we're going to push. I think this is probably a BRC20. Right? This is the name of it. This is the name of the token, the type of the token, and the transaction inside. So this is the information that they're using for their inscription information. And this is all stored within the Bitcoin transaction. Now, what's, we don't want to restrict anybody to be able to make any Bitcoin transactions. Everyone's free to use Bitcoin however they want. But why are people, like, I guess, against this idea? They're against this idea is because these kind of transactions, you'll see that they create these UTXOs, these unspent outputs. And you'll notice that, especially for these inscription projects, these outputs are basically under the dust limit. So dust limit refers to basically the smallest unit of the UTXO that you can store. Because anything like lower than that will cost more than it is to spend. As in, if you try to spend a dust UTXO, sorry, you can't even spend a dust UTXO. There's just not enough. There's not enough sats to pay for the UTXO itself. You cannot add it to the mining. So what's happening with these inscriptions since last year, especially when they launched this, is now on the Bitcoin network, in our Bitcoin blockchain, we have a bunch of these UTXOs. Now, what your Bitcoin node is doing every 10 minutes is basically keeping track of where are all the 21 million Bitcoins right now, right? And with these UTXOs, now we have a bunch of these entries, going back from last year, about 2,000 of them every 10 minutes, right? That are just kind of like clogging everything up. And we cannot get rid of them, right? They're just kind of stuck here. And how big is this transaction? So you can see here that it takes about, this one transaction here takes about 300 bytes. Okay, so that's 300 bytes that your Bitcoin node is going to have to store in the RAM for every single inscription that's in there. Now, yeah, that's why we do not like it.